Rowan Atkinson is a man of exclusive tastes. As of September 2023, Rowan Atkinson's net worth is estimated to be $150 million. Atkinson is a well-read comedian and novelist who's made a huge name in the acting industry. He's also a smart businessman, a fanatical car collector and racer, and as it turns out, a big fan of late modernist building. Let's find out how he spends his millions. Mansion. His millions are showcased through his most recent house. It's not only really new because he just bought it, instead it's new because he just moved in last year, more than 16 years after he bought the land it sits on. Farmers in the area call the house a space-age gas station. It's on top of a hill in Ipston, Oxfordshire, and it looks like the kind of house a real car fanatic would live in. It's also a point of debate. The British newspaper Daily Mail says that Atkinson just moved into the house even though it was finished in 2017 and won an award from the Royal Institute of British Architects, or RIBA, the same year. It took the star more than a decade to get the permission to build on the plans by American architect Richard Mayer, one of the last modernists still working. The problem was the house looked like something from the future, which was very different from the country manners and houses in the pretty neighborhood. The fact that it replaced a building from the 1930s called Handsmouth House, which Atkinson bulldozed to build his dream house, made the people who lived there even less happy about the project. At the moment, there are two buildings on the estate, the main house and a separate guest house. The main house is 837 square meters and the guest house is 141 square meters. Because this is private land and a privately funded construction, exact details about either building have not been made public. However, Meyer did talk about it with Dezeen in 2019, calling it a piece of livable art. Our primary site goal is always to create a strong sense of place by enhancing or changing the existing site in a unique and provocative way, he said, partly in response to criticism that the mansion stood out like a sore thumb in the local landscape. The land is open, and the house is set up and placed in a way that's similar to many English manor houses. Because of this, the setting and place are related to old English manor houses. In reality, nothing about this modern, all-white concrete and glass building makes me think of the past. According to the Mail, Atkinson spent $6.7 million building and furnishing it, on top of the $3.3 million he paid for the land in 2006. He got a home with a lot of open space, brightly lit rooms, and neutral-colored finishes. It was airy and pretty, and it fit right in with the Mediterranean landscape. The same ad talks about a secret, most likely underground garage, which shouldn't surprise anyone who knows Atkinson loves cars. Atkinson doesn't like garage queens like most celebs do, but he needs a place to put at least some of his $13.4 million collection. Back at the mansion, Meyer said that the main house was set up for different uses. For example, utilities and a gym were put in the ground floor, while living and socializing areas were on the first floor. On the top floors are the 5 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. The house also has a small piece of wooded land and an outdoor pool. The main house and the guest cottages are linked by a bridge that goes across the land. Cars collection. Rowan Atkinson knows a lot about cars, so if you thought he drove around town in an armchair attached to the roof of a Mini, you're in for a treat. The profits were used to buy box sets of Blackadder, reruns of Mr. Bean, and Johnny English episodes. McLaren F1, 1997. Let's start with something big, 240 miles per hour. When it came out in 1992, the McLaren F1, which was made by Gordon Murray, changed the game. Even though £535,000 is a lot of money, it's less than half of what a new Ferrari LaFerrari costs today. What about the ideals of today? Rowan bought his F1 in 1997 with the money from the first Mr. Bean movie. 5 years later, he sold it for around £8 million, even though he crashed it not once but twice. The most recent crash cost him £910,000 in repairs, which was Britain's largest auto insurance claim ever. Aston Martin V8 Zagato, 1986. We don't want to look like we don't think much of Mr. Atkinson's driving skills because he has raced different cars, including his classic Jaguar MK7 Saloon, on the club track for years and won some prizes. But on a track day for fans at Croft Circuit in 2001, he crashed this Aston Martin, which was a unique Italian-style V8 Zagato with 482 bhp added. Rebuilding the car cost £220,000, and Rowan got £122,500 for it at sale. I think it rhymes with clucking bell, he might have said in a whisper. Ford Falcon Sprint 1964. This is a race car from 1964, and you got it, he also crashed it. At least he did it during a race this time. He hit another car during the Shelby Cup race at the Goodwood Revival in 2014. Oh God, as Blackadder might say, fortune throws up on my bet again. Bentley Mulsanne Birkin Edition 2014. It looks good parked next to the red carpet at the BAFTAs, but this 2014 limited version has a lot more history than other luxury barges. The Mulsanne is named for the Strait at Le Mans, which Bentley won in 1929, 1930, 1931, and 2003. Sir Henry Tim Birkin was one of the original Bentley boys. He was a two-time winner, and his idea to supercharge WO's cars led to the famous Bentley blower. This car is a salute to Jane Birkin, who was played by Rowan Atkinson in the 1995 movie Full Throttle. Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead 2011. Phantom Drophead's customers want to go all out, but that usually means custom marquetry, hand-painted crests, a fridge for the Cristal, and an onboard safety for Milady's jewelry. The engine caught Rowan's eye. He used his huge power to get Rolls-Royce to put in an experimental 9-liter V16 engine. Just don't say anything about gas mileage. BMW 328 1939. Rowan's 1939 BMW is the most important car of its time because it won the Mille Miglia, which is the most exciting, scary, and emotional road race ever. Walter Balmer and Huschke von Hanstein, who both raced under the swastika, were in charge of it. This car has been carefully fixed up to the very last detail. Rowan, please, for the love of God, don't do this one. Lancia Integrale Delta HF 1989. After driving his 8-valve car for 2 years, Atkinson got his 16-valve in 1989. He liked it so much that he wrote a piece about it for Car Magazine. He wrote, "I can't think of any other car that would get you from P to Q faster than this one. Fans of the car can buy a new, improved version of the Delta, but only 20 will be made, so move fast." Lancia Thema 8.32 1989. The Thema never looked like much. It was left-hand drive and not very common in the UK. Rowan's Lancia was a gorgeous deep red color, and the inside had a lot of wood and brown cloth seats. But things were anything but calm under the hood. The engine is a Ferrari V8 from the 328 with 32 valves. It must seem strange. The best car for a sleeper? Until the Mercedes 500e came along. Mercedes 500e 1993. Everyone who has met Rowan Atkinson will tell you that he's a very shy person. He probably never felt comfortable in the McLaren because so many people were looking at him. The 500e, like the Thema, is made to look like a regular sedan until the driver presses on the gas. The top-of-the-line W124 has a 5.0-liter V8 engine and can go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds, which was pretty good in the early 1990s. Rowan's car from 1993 is silver with blue checkered cloth and half-leather seats. He sold it in 1994, but he really liked it, so in 2017 he bought it back. He sold it again a year later, so the person who owns it now should expect to get a call in around 2041. Honda NSX 2002. He has a Honda? Another wolf in sheep's clothing? No, everything is Wolf, even the way it looks. So much so that Mr. Wolf was the name given to the character in Pulp Fiction who drove an NSX. It's a Japanese Ferrari, and it looked like Ayrton Senna, who was driving it, knew what he was doing. Aston Martin V8 Vantage 1977. This was Rowan's first real car, and it was where it all began. This American-style power car was made in Savile Row in 1977. It has a 5.3-liter V8 engine that makes 389 bhp and is painted burgundy, which was Atkinson's favorite color. Atkinson bought it in 1984, not long after he became famous, and he's kept it ever since. It was also talked about in Johnny English Strikes Again. And that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.